Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic in the stock market. It is something you hear about every single day. You see it on TV news channels, you read about it in newspapers, and on financial websites. We are talking about stock market indices. You have surely heard names like Sensex and Nifty 50. But what do these names really mean? What do the numbers next to them tell us? Are they just random figures that go up and down? Or do they hold a deeper meaning for you as an investor? This is exactly what we are going to explore together. Think of the Indian stock market as a huge, bustling marketplace. There are thousands of companies listed on the exchanges. The Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE. The National Stock Exchange, NSE. Now, imagine trying to understand what is happening in this entire market at once. It would be impossible to track every single stock. This is where indices come into the picture. They act as a snapshot, a summary of the overall market, or a specific part of it. They make the complex world of stocks much easier to understand. In simple terms, a stock market index is a tool, a statistical measure that shows changes in a group of stocks. When you hear the Sensex went up by 500 points, it means, on average, the value of the 30 large, well-established companies that form the Sensex has increased. An index gives a quick way to gauge market mood and direction, a powerful indicator that helps make sense of the financial world. Get ready to dive deep into this fascinating subject. Let's begin this learning adventure together. To make this concept even clearer, let's use a simple analogy. Imagine a big school with thousands of students. The school's principal wants to know how the students performed in their final exams. It would be a huge task to go through every single student's report card. So, what does the principal do? She decides to create a summary. She might select the top 50 students from the senior-most class. Now, the principal calculates the average score of these 50 students. If their average score is 85 out of 100, she can quickly get a good idea of the overall academic standard of the school. If this average score goes up to 90 the next year, it suggests that the students, in general, are performing better. In this analogy, the school is the stock market. The thousands of students are the thousands of companies listed on the stock exchanges. The top 50 students selected by the principal are like the top 50 companies selected for an index like the Nifty 50. These companies are the largest, most liquid, most representative of the Indian economy. The average score of these students is like the value of the index. When the index value goes up, it's like the average score improving, indicating that the top companies are doing well and the market is healthy. So, whenever you look at an index, just think of it as the stock market's daily report card, telling you whether it passed with flying colors or had a difficult day. Now that we've got a solid foundation, it's time to meet the two biggest names in the Indian stock market. These are the headline makers. We are, of course, talking about the BSE Sensex and the NSE Nifty 50. How was the market today? They are the default indicators for the health of the entire Indian equity market. When someone asks, "How was the market today?" the answer is almost always given by quoting the performance of either the Sensex or the Nifty 50. Let's begin our deep dive with the older of the two, the veteran player, the BSE Sensex. The term Sensex is actually a combination of two words, sensitive index. The Sensex was launched on January 1st, 1986. It was India's very first stock market index. The Sensex is composed of 30 companies. These are the largest. These are the most liquid. These are financially sound. These companies are called blue-chip stocks. The 30 companies come from many sectors. Diversification prevents reliance on a single industry. Base year, 1978-79. Base value, Mars 100. So Sensex at 75,000 today means 750x growth since 1979. That single number encapsulates India's growth over 4 decades. Now let's talk about the other titan, the Nifty 50. While the Sensex is the veteran, the Nifty 50 is the modern champion. Launched on April 22, 1996, it comprises 50 of the largest and most liquid stocks on the NSE. Because it has 50 versus Sensex's 30, many see it as a broader, more comprehensive market representation. These 50 companies account for about 65% of the NSE's free float market cap. Because of its broader base and popularity in the derivatives market, futures and options, the Nifty 50 is the go-to index for pro traders and analysts. The most obvious difference is the number of constituent stocks. The base year and base value are also different, as we've already discussed. This is why you can't directly compare their point values. What you should compare is their percentage change. A 1% rise in the Sensex is roughly equivalent to a 1% rise in the Nifty 50. So, which one should you follow? The honest answer is that for a long-term investor, it doesn't make a huge difference. Both indices are highly correlated. But if you have to choose one for detailed tracking or for benchmarking your portfolio, the Nifty 50 is often the preferred choice in today's market environment. Understanding what the Sensex and Nifty 50 are is one thing, but honestly, understanding why they move up and down is another. The most direct factor is the earnings performance of the constituent companies. Macroeconomic factors play a huge role. RBI decisions on interest rates are watched closely. Global events matter too. No market is an island. Domestic politics and government policy can cause big swings. One of the primary purposes of an index is to serve as a benchmark. It tells you that your selection of stocks underperformed the market average. This is not a reason to panic, but it is a crucial piece of feedback. Another crucial purpose of an index is to facilitate passive investing. Instead of trying to be a stock-picking genius, passive investing lets you mimic the market's performance. This is done through special financial products called index funds and exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. A Nifty 50 index fund buys shares of all 50 companies in the index. Both index funds and ETFs give instant diversification with one investment. This reduces the risk that one company's slump destroys your portfolio. We've covered the basics, met the giants, and seen how you can use this knowledge. The knowledge you have gained about indices should give you the confidence to overcome inertia and take action. Thank you, and happy investing.